This is a bridge I rebuilt with my dad and brother. It was not a particularly easy process. Pulling out old boards and shifting massively heavy concrete posts is not always a fun start to a weekend. All aspects of building it, including leveling dirt, moving lumber, and evenly painting the new planks, required some care and attention to detail. During its restoration, I dreaded going back out and continuing to work, often thinking to myself, what's the point of this? And this sucks. It's towards the end of the project, though, that I realized all the effort was a necessity. The labor of building the bridge was worth ending the discomfort and difficulty of getting from one side to the other. Americans today seem to be split on either side of a divide. Arguments become easily heated. People are often immediately judged by their political association, no matter what it may be, and widespread separation is creating a vaster and vaster gap. A bridge can and must be built to foster unity, and you can be one of the people who builds it. Division in America has gone too far, but we can contribute to its decline by acknowledging the humanity of each other. More specifically, rather than reducing each other to only contrasting views, we can attempt to understand each other and fight bias. And instead of allowing argument and hate to characterize interaction, we can exercise civil discourse and seek out common ground. Ask yourself, should Americans continue to align with one political faction with the key characteristic of membership being disdain for the alternative? Or should we work to understand each other and grow into a more united States of America? One of the causes of this increasing disunity is that the preferences or perceptions people hold that pertain to particular topics are largely impacted by biased media. Consider this bias chart created using information from public benefit corporations all sides and ad fontes media. Raise your hand if you or someone close to you consumes news from one of these outlets. Okay, keep your hands raised for a second and look around the room. Note the hands that are raised. This social application indicates that whether you like it or not, bias is seeping into news that the people around you and you take in. Unless you actively read articles from the other side of the chart, it is likely that this bias has influenced you to some degree. My point is that when there are highly accessible outlets that paint pictures of world events for hundreds of thousands of people to see, that correspond to certain agendas and who drive revenue by being clicked on the most, it is inevitable that division will develop. Modern computer algorithms don't help much either. When people are being continually fed media with which it has been established that they agree, little room is left for understanding or even acknowledgement of dissimilar viewpoints. If one person were to read articles solely from Fox News and another solely from MSNBC, it is safe to assume they'd have different perceptions of current events. Do you think person A and person B will have an easy time getting along? Maybe, maybe not. Well, what do we do about this problem? I alluded to it a second ago, but you can give reading an article from an alternative outlet on a different location of the bias spectrum a try. Maybe not a hyper-partisan one, but one from a more center lean is definitely worth a shot. This would help in the fight for understanding. I should also add that there are resources available to help determine the extent of bias present in media outlets. One such website, which was one of the sources in the formulation of the previously mentioned bias chart, is adfontesmedia.com. They actually have their own extensive interactive bias chart, among other resources. But more broadly, if we are to bridge the gap, empathy is a must. One of my sources of entertainment, when I'm not busy feeling super unsettled by the divided state of our nation, is the act of scrolling through comment sections online and reading arguments between strangers on any number of topics. I doubt I'm the only one here who has done this. In my experience, the arguments are seldom civil and certainly don't exhibit empathy. They are reply after reply of beliefs clouded with insults shoved down opposing commenters' throats. Never is it asked, what makes you believe this, or how or why did you come to this conclusion? In early elementary school, I remember there was a strong emphasis on teaching us about empathy, including a song we would sing. I also remember I didn't really understand what it meant. Now, though, I realize the teachers were onto something. I have more recently implemented empathetic thinking into my life, and I truly believe it has helped me grow as a person. If you too try to find common ground with whomever you deem to be the opposition, or with whomever you have unintentionally reduced to only views they hold, it would make it much more difficult to get into the cycle of vicious argument. The idea that people get reduced to only their views is an issue in itself. This has led to deterioration of relationships, particularly in recent years. I myself have witnessed and known people who are no longer in contact with each other because of political disagreement. In the heated political climate today, association with a person who seems unsavory to some is often enough to break long-standing bonds of family and friendship. It must be reasserted that people are more than just their political association. While values people hold are important characteristics, it is almost never the case that differences are truly so severe that communication and friendliness are impossible. Reparation of relationships reveals itself to be an important step towards unity. To be clear, I am not suggesting you ignore the beliefs with which you disagree. In contrast, civil discourse is an important part of democracy and progress. However, civility must be emphasized, common ground needs to be sought out, and compromise should be kept in mind. I previously suggested ways in which a sense of unity could be fostered on an individual level, but if applicable, the restoration of broken relationships is a more powerful way to fight polarization today. The already severe division present in our society will continue to worsen, plaguing future generations and resulting in nothing productive. It must be stopped. As Latin writer Publilius Syrus said, "Where there is unity, there is victory." We, as Americans, need to put the effort in to reunite if we want to fully prosper. As an individual, you can plant the seeds of union by acknowledging the similarities of those who seem different, by trying to understand what makes their differences. As a relative or friend, you can reestablish contact with one who has been estranged, demonstrating that there is more value in a restored relationship than a destroyed one. You can be the one to start bridging the gap. Thank you.